You are now listening to a member of the Disney Podcast family. Head over to Disney Podcast Family on Instagram to see all the latest posts for this show and links to other great Disney podcasts.
Hiya! How you doing?
I'm walking right down the middle of Main Street, USA. It's the heart of America, the heartbeat of a holiday. The place was made with a magical plan, and just around the corner is a fantasy land. I'm walking right down the middle of Main Street, USA.
Welcome to Main Street View, where the view is your own and you hear sounds of history and future coming in. Our opinions are brewing and we would like to begin. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Main Street View. We are brought to you by Walt's Apartment Podcast, the DisInsider.com, so many other things, Getaway Today, and Designer Park Co., and Sunken City Designs is in there somewhere. We're all here. We are here. It's normally just me and Lewis for our deep dive show, Main Street View, but we had to get more people in for this. So if you're a Disney fan, you know what the hell's going on right now. So first off, Lewis, how you doing tonight?
I am doing pretty good. Coming off the high energy from last night, but I'm doing great.
We're going to talk about that energy. Breanna, good to see you.
Hello.
I'm glad we did a show because you're not going to be on Wednesday, right? So at least we could have you on a show this week, so that's good.
No, I should be on this Wednesday.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. And then...
Not the last 3 Wednesdays or whatever.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. This one will be fun. We'll talk about the DisInsider Awards and stuff, and Megan will be there and Skylar will be there, so that'll be a good time. So normally, if you guys understand how we record, we have names here. Mine says Shawn. Breanna says Breanna. Lewis says Bob Ballou. So
I'll fix mine.
No. And Joey says good riddance. Joey, Disney Universe Podcast. Welcome in, my friend. How are you, buddy?
Oh, I'm great. I'm so excited right now to talk about Disenchanted and how much I love that movie.
Perfect. That's
cool.
That's what our deep dive is, right? Disenchanted?
Review and
I'm looking around.
Right?
We're going to deep dive into it. Patrick Dempsey was amazing. And actually, as you all know, this is Lewis's show. He runs it. So I'm going to turn it over to Lewis now. And we got an interesting topic to talk about tonight, don't we, Lewis?
We have probably the biggest topic of 2022. I mean, this is probably the biggest topic of the pandemic. Like, let's be honest.
Bigger than Taylor Swift's ticket thing?
Yeah. And
at least for
way
us.
bigger.
Right?
Yeah, for us, it's way bigger. So, absolutely. So we are here to talk about the incredible, crazy roller coaster news we got yesterday of Bob Chapek stepping down.
Hey, you said Chapek.
I did. Well, the
give it just one time for this.
Yeah, the original script we had for this show was going to be a lot different, and
Yeah.
I do pull back a little bit on the hatred I have for Bob Paycheck, but
there it is.
But it's not enough to change his name. So, but full disclosure, we're going to be discussing the opinions, the feedbacks, our likes, our dislikes about both Bob Iger, Bob Chapek, what it means to the Disney Corporation and stuff like that. But just as a disclosure for all viewers and listeners listening in on the show, we're not here to bash Disney itself, not here to bash the parks, the entertainment business, something like that. Just sharing our opinions and thoughts of who's at the wheel steering this ship. So in no way, shape, or form are we here to bash Disney. Just the person potentially running it or not running it. But even then, it's just opinions and no hate. So with that, I'm going to go around the room. Shawn, what was your initial reactions when you heard the news?
First?
I had to.
Well, I was driving home from – my dad's in the hospital right now, so I was driving home from the hospital, and I'm coming around the corner. I look down, and I'm part of the DisInsider. They have a Slack group, right? So Slack is like a thing where you can communicate with each other, all the people that write stuff, and all I see is holy shit and the thing from Skylar Schuler, and I'm like, what the hell? So then he posts the Twitter link to Scott. Was it Gustafson or Gustin or
Scott
whoever
Gustin?
broke this? I mean, and I'm like looking. I'm like, there's no freaking way. And I'm like looking at. It, I'm like, I said insane. People are like, no way, it's not real. It's not real. And I'm thinking, literally 5 minutes later, we get the release from Walt Disney Company. I'm like, this is absolutely insane. It blows my mind because so many thoughts ran through my head, and I will preface and and say I'm not a Bob Iger fan. I love Bob Iger. I think he's great. He did so many things for the company. I am not a hater of Bob. I almost just said paycheck. Bob Chapek as I am not a hater of Bob Chapek. I think, in my opinion, Bob Chapek took over at the worst time a CEO could take over a company. When you have a company that is ran off of a theme park business and a movie business, basically that runs everything, and you took over a month before all that shut down. I think he came into it. It came in at a terrible time. He was picked by Bob Iger supposedly as his successor. And over the last 2 years, obviously, he has made some big mistakes. Absolutely, he's made big mistakes with the way he handles things. That's some of the things he said. The issues with the magic keys and the comments he made, the issues with the bill in Florida, that he didn't handle it correctly and then had to step back and change it. Obviously, this guy created a lot of people that didn't like him. Then it came to the point that everyone, if you went to the parks and it was raining or you were having a bad experience, you would see a post on Facebook or Instagram saying, "Oh, thank you, Bob Paycheck, for ruining my day. Thanks a lot. This was great." No matter what it was, parks are empty. Thanks, Bob Paycheck. No matter what, it was his fault. My initial response to this is that I feel like, and I don't want to say this the wrong way, I feel like he was the scapegoat to bring the company back out of a really bad fourth quarter earnings call. He didn't handle that well either by announcing immediately that he's going to have hiring freezes and possibly lay people off. Wasn't smart on his part. You saw the guy on CNBC fire him right now because the stock was plummeting. I think he was the scapegoat. I think it was brilliant on Disney to do what they did, to reach out and get Bob Iger to come back. I don't know how they convinced him to do that because he had said, like Lewis was saying before we started, like 3 weeks ago, no, I'm not coming back. They hired him for 3 more years. I'm talking too much. But my initial response is that and I think Joey said it in our group chat, Bob Chapek's the fall guy. Brilliant PR move by Disney to do this at this time. Stock was up by like 5% today. It will continue to rise. Everyone loves Bob Iger, and he will save the company. That's what they're going to push right now. That was my initial response until I start diving into stuff today. So,
all right, Joey, what was your initial thoughts when you heard the news?
Well, like Shawn, I was driving, so between my Disney Universe thread and the Walt's apartment thread, my phone was like ting 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 ting. Oh my god, I'm playing pinball right now. Right. Same first thing I think everybody thought this isn't real.
Yep.
And Alex sent me the tweet, so I'm like, okay, well, blue check must be real, right? No, but then
pay for that now, right? So it's
but I think it was in our thread where somebody posted the actual release, and then I saw the emails that he sent the cast members. I'm like, okay, and not shocked, very shocked. I'm
Iger. I just saw it.
I'm not a big Chapek fan, and it was way before he became CEO. I could get into that later, but as much as I don't like him, but I do know that. I was at a local Disney Club meeting with Leo, who we talked to at MouseCon, and they were just talking about how and like I mentioned, the team is what's been failing, and how that Chapek is. Well, when you're the poster boy for the company, you like quarterback, you win, you get all the praise. You lose, you get all the hate. So
I'm a Raider fan. It's just like Derek Carr's. Derek Carr's blamed if they win. He's not blamed if they win. It's someone else if they win. But if they lose, it's totally his fault, no matter what.
But yeah, super shocked. Shocked, but not surprised. But maybe surprised at the timing. But
did you? Is this real?
And the Niners are winning right now.
What now? What happened?
What real? Did you just
Never
feel like
He just froze too.
did he just step down now? He's like, all right, I'm done.
No.
I'm out. Yeah.
Michael Eisner's back.
Michael Eisner's back.
Yeah. Plot twist. Oh man.
Oh, no,
Breanna,
no.
what were your initial reactions?
My initial reactions were that it was fake, and I don't remember who I saw the first notification come through. And then I saw Carly Wiesel's tweet saying something about, I thought this was a joke, and I was like, yeah, me too. And then my initial reaction was to go to Scott Gustin's page. I was like, he will have it, and there, sure enough, it was there. Next, and then as I'm looking at that, I see the notification pop up from the DisInsider, and I was like, that's three. We're good.
Yeah. That's what
This
you
is
said in
real.
our group chat. You're like, yeah, I got 3 sources that confirm it.
I was like,
Yeah.
3 sources I completely trust, and I was like, so yeah, that was, I think I was just shocked. Like, I again am pretty indifferent. I agree with everybody that he was dealt a bad hand when Chapek came in. Like, that's, I mean, I don't think we can argue that. Overall, there's a lot of things as a CEO. I was like I said, this dude's getting paid millions of dollars. I do not have a lot of sympathy. And if you mess up, I don't have a lot of sympathy. Like, you are the highest you can get there. You are paid the absolute most. Honestly, you don't get to mess up on a company that is this, like, I mean, this in the public, like, and so I generally, I don't want to criticize him as much as everybody else. I don't think the simple things that people are upset about are that big of a deal, as much as I don't love them. There are things that I can change. There's so much stuff that has happened now that I can't change, like, and that's just how the world works. So I don't blame him fully for that. I do understand as a company thing, the money loss, the streaming issues, the revenue, like, that's where it kind of comes down to. And that's where I'm like, okay, yeah. Like, as much as we sit here and hate him, or not even just we, like us four, like, we generally as Disney fans will bash and bash, there's deeper things that would have caused this, not just people on the internet complaining.
Dude, I had so many initial reviews. Like, I stopped eating my dinner. Like, we ordered pizza because I was like lazy that night. Like, I'm just ordering pizza for the kids, and I'm like mid eating, and I get like my phone blows up, and I'm like, shut up. I hop up, I turn the TV on. Every YouTuber, social media person I know just immediately went live. I'm like, all right, who do I listen to? All of them were sharing, and I was like, dude, this is insane. But I think the part that caught me was not that Bob Chapek stepped down, was fired. I know there's like 2 strong views on it. I think he was like, it was like, I'm stepping down because you're going to fire me thing. That's what I truly believe. But like, the part that really caught me was that Bob Iger is stepping back in. And not only that he's stepping back in, that he's already sent an email out to cast members. Like, the footwork has already begun. Like, on a Sunday, I was like, hold on. Like, what is happening right now? Like, how many people are at the offices or at home? How many Zoom calls are going on? Like, it was, for me, that was the part that caught me off guard, was that how effective immediately Bob Iger's in it. It wasn't like it wasn't like the chair was stepping in for a few days and we find out today Bob Iger. Like, no, it was a clean across the board. So that's what really caught me off guard. But overall, my initial reactions was I was excited for the move and for the change. After the dust settled, I sat back and thought about it. I was like, maybe I'm not as excited. We had a different script for our show tonight that would have been totally opposite of where we're going.
Completely different from what we're talking about. And it was, you can tell them what we were going to talk about. I mean, so we came across, and this kind of ties into the next subject, what we're going to talk on. Came across the YouTube video, and I forget the YouTuber's name. I'll add it into the show notes for us, but it was about an hour-long episode talking about why Bob Chapek, but also why Bob Iger weren't quite fit for the job that they did. They did a great job with what they gave us, but also the cards they were dealt in between that
how it didn't work out. So long story short, it was letting us know that, yes, Bob Iger gave us Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm, Fox, but it was letting us know all of the back end part of the deal that in order for us to say, yes, we have that under our umbrella, this is what you have to do to get there. So it kind of shares and sheds some light on why Disney itself is in debt. But at the same time, it kind of showed why Bob Chapek, and one of my biggest issues with Bob Chapek was that he didn't have the magic or the consumer-like idea of what people want. He had the business and banker side of it, but he didn't know what consumers wanted. He didn't know anything like that, which is ironic because he was head of merchandising just years ago. So it's very weird that he lost that touch. But it was also showing that he hired banker-like people to fill in roles that those roles they shouldn't have been into. So it really lets you know the pros and cons of both. And for me, that's kind of one of the reasons why I stopped using the term Bob Chapek was because, all right, I'll give him that. I still don't think he has the magic of any CEO that we've ever had. No. But he hasn't really done as much harm or any less harm that Bob Iger did. And he, again, going into our next subject, which is discussing the pros and cons of Bob Chapek in the almost 3 years that he was running as CEO.
999 days.
Dude, that meme blew my...
That was so hilarious.
The irony of that, the shirt I was wearing yesterday, there was so many things that I was like, my head was just like, wow, that really happened. So I was really blown away about that. What's that?
Lewis's shirt. I saw his story that morning, and one of the first things I thought about was like, "Oh my God, Lewis's shirt!"
Damn you, Lewis, you did this.
I was mind blown. I was so stoked. But now we're like, I can't wear that. I mean, I'll still rock that shirt, but I can't really wear that shirt because it's already been ditched.
Yeah.
I mean, now I'd like create I didn't create that shirt. Toontown Fight Club did, and I gotta like now get a ditch Bob Iger shirt just to keep it consistent. But with that, I want to hear. I'm gonna go backwards this time, Breanna. What are some pros and cons you felt Bob Chapek brought to the table regarding all things Disney, not just parks? Because obviously we shared at the beginning, everyone likes to point to parks, but if you're digging, and one thing I wanted to share at the beginning, if you're actually doing the reading and the research, it wasn't just parks that were affected, but it wasn't just the parks that made the final decision. But what are your thoughts on the pros and cons that Bob Chapek brought to the table?
Overall pros, I mean, he brought the company out of the pandemic or where we are, starting and innovating new things. I mean, I remember I just finished listening to your guys' Extra Magic Hour that I didn't get to be a part of. And part of it was about Disney Plus and the money lost with Disney Plus. And all I could think about was, this is brand new, not just brand new for Disney, but brand new for everyone. It was used to be Netflix and that's it. Netflix and Hulu, that's what you had. And then Disney started that snowball effect of every company coming in and bringing their streaming. They, not only did they, initiate new shows into the way they were doing storytelling with these shows, but initiated the business side of what streaming can be and can become. So honestly, I understand that they're losing money, but they're losing money in a way that because they are initiating something brand new. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
Well,
obviously, if they go bankrupt, it's a bad thing, but you're probably going to lose some things when you're starting something brand new. This is a new way of streaming. This is a new way of consuming media. It is completely new. And again, not just streaming, but having each individual studio having their own streaming service, being able to produce content in a way that they weren't able to before, being able to tell stories the way they weren't able to before, getting it to people and audiences they weren't able to before. So honestly, everything with Disney Plus and what it has brought and what it's changed streaming to is a giant pro. Yes, I know it is at the moment losing the company money, but sometimes that's what happens when something's brand new. So I think this is a giant pro. There are cons, and I honestly, I feel like it comes so little when you think about this, but I was like, I do think that one of the biggest cons is how much people disliked him. And I know that there is a point, but I was like, there's a point where I think he got that he was never going to dig himself out of. There was nothing that he could do to make people like him again. And generally, if you're a leader in this kind of position, it's not always about being liked and loved, but you do have to have the support of people. And he was also losing the support of his employees.
Right.
And I think that's more than like the Disney fans. If he's losing the support of the people that he's trying to lead and guide, it's a bad leader. Like, and I can't say that, oh, that's because of Genie Plus he's a bad leader. No, it's because he was losing the support of the people that he's supposed to be guiding, supposed to be leading through this company. So those are my two big pro and cons.
All right. Joey?
I'm really going to try to think of a pro. I'm going to go to some of the cons, and I mean, you go to like Iger and Eisner and Walt Disney. They were businessmen, but they all had visions, and Chapek never really had a vision, in my opinion. And that was pretty evident. And like some of I didn't really read too much like on him on stuff. So a lot of the stuff that I've seen has been like three different D23 expos where he spoke during the 3 different parks panels, and like all this stuff that was announced that, you know, where they called him paycheck or penny pincher, you know, because a lot of the stuff that got announced never happened on a lot of things. And so for me to have a guy run the company that kind of like broke promises, or I know a lot of stuff happens in development and everything, but it just, especially like things like Galaxy's Edge that got announced, we mentioned it before, that, you know, it either didn't happen or they figure, hey, let's throw it on the hotel that nobody can afford to go to. Stuff that was supposed to be there, the dinner show, droids rolling around, stuff like that. And I know, like, you know, it of course was bad timing when he came in, but I mean, Iger was leaving for years, and he got. I feel like they extended him to give Chapek enough time. So then when he was finally felt comfortable, then that's when he stepped in. But then that's when the pandemic happened. So then Iger even came back for a limited time too, to kind of help him out with that. And the thing with the Disney Plus, I mean, that came out in 2019. But that was like a 2 or 3 year project before he was in charge too. So, I mean, I'm trying to see what he's done, but and the View too, he was damn near MIA during D23, where he should be up more. And even as much as Iger was not liked, he was still, you know, present to his employees, to the crowd goers, to the movie people. When they made mistakes, he owned up to it. Like, you know, for instance, Solo, he's like, we should have waited the full year rather than throwing it out right after Last Jedi. What the heat on that. And so, I mean, he's owned up to mistakes, but
I mean, if you don't have any pros, I mean, that's understandable too. I mean,
yeah, I don't.
Everybody has pros, everybody has cons, but if it's, well, I'll wait to weigh in. Go ahead. I'll wait to hear everybody else's opinion on them.
Was that my turn? Because Joey has no pros.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
Pretty optimistic too.
No, I I've gone back and forth all day long. I've argued with people I care about a lot today, and to where they're like yelling at me that, I mean, literally yelling at me that, you know, Bob Chapek had no magic, and I sit here and I think about it now, and maybe they were right, because I can't bash. I mean, a pro. I think about both of what you're saying. Joey makes a really good point. There are not a lot of pros. I mean, he was in charge of the parks when Galaxy's Edge was developed and made. So thank you for him. I mean, that's still, he didn't design it and create it. I think a big pro for him was, I think my pro and con are kind of the same thing. My pro for him is good on him for trying to take over at a time when anyone could. I firmly believe that Iger left knowing what was coming and didn't want to have his image tarnished. So I think he left. I remember the interview when they said Bob Chapek is taking over as the CEO, and it was literally like 2 weeks after I think it was Shanghai closed. And I'm thinking, damn, this guy's screwed, man. He has to deal with this. At least Disneyland and Walt Disney World will never close. A month later, boom, they close. But I mean, so that's a pro for him. I guess my pro would be for him trying, I guess. Con, and this was beat into my head today. He is just not. I mean, by more than one person, but one person a lot. That there's no magic there. He is disconnected from his from like Breanna said, disconnected from his employees and the cast members. Not the kind of guy that would get out there. I mean, we saw him I was sitting next to Breanna at D23, and we saw him. I've never seen someone so uncomfortable that, like she said, makes that much money. If you make $20 million a year, you should be able to fake that you're happy. You know what I mean? And the way he communicated at D23 after he got booed, I think it was Skyler that told me that they had a plan that if he got booed at any time during his speech, they flipped the script and announced the ride coming to Avengers Campus to make him look, and that's exactly what they did. I think he said someone looked up when they saw the script actually change, and he was reading off the teleprompter to make that announcement. So, pro, good try, buddy, and I feel really bad for you. Con, you need to be more connected with your people, because Disney. I mean, you guys kind of have changed my thoughts on this by what you're saying. Michael Eisner, Bob Iger, Walt Disney himself, we're people. We're people person, Bob Chapek, no, he came in and tried to fix it financially and then going back to the video Lewis talking about, Bob Iger spent $88 million on Fox, I think it was $7 million on Pixar, $4 million on Marvel. Billion, I'm sorry. $7 billion. I was going to say. $7 billion on Pixar, $4 million on Marvel, and $4 million on Lucasfilm. $4 billion. $71 billion on Fox. $88 billion. Here, I bought this. Peace out. And that's what it looked like to me when Iger left. Figure this out, bro. And now you got to figure out with everything that makes your money, everything that makes you money shut down. Good luck. That's why. So the con is I guess the con, like I said, is the same as the pro. Trying to do it. The con is when he had to do it. So I feel bad for him. He's still a human being. He has a family. And I couldn't go for 3 years, people talking shit about me and telling me I'm a piece of shit and getting death threats and you're ruining my magic and you're a terrible person and you've ruined our company and you've taken away everything Walt built and Walt will be rolling over in his grave. I feel bad for him. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
I'm going to be very
I'm passionate today. Sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm on the same boat with Joey though. I don't got any pros. I mean, I'll agree with Shawn. I'll give him that for trying, but at the same time, yes, it was rough. But Disney World closed down for I think it was about 8 months before they reopened.
It was like 4.
I was gonna say
it was even sooner.
Yeah, they opened back up in July of 2020.
So like they
5-ish months.
Yeah.
So they reopened. And then he shot himself in the foot when he brought in all these new creative leads to almost like bottleneck all the plans and development to make it easier for him to see him. But he brought in the wrong people to do it. And I think that's where he shot himself in the foot initially. When parks reopened and throughout and so that, the parks aren't 100% solely on him, but if the parks are not doing.
Wait, I want to ask you a question. So
yeah,
you're saying he brought all these people to lead all these different places. So you're saying that Marvel stuff and Star Wars stuff and the park stuff has sucked the past 3 years? Is that what you're saying?
That they have or haven't sucked?
That they have.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you look at the Marvel. We talked about Marvel Tribe. The shows have been good, but could be better. I mean,
those are all in development before when Iger was still. Most of them.
Yeah.
Most of them were. But I mean, again, but then all of that could have been halted, stopped, changed. I mean, we've seen Disney make big changes on a dime. I mean, obviously, announcing an Avenger ride when you know you're going to get booed, they plan for these things. And I don't think he did. He never really did plan for any of these exit plans. And like Joey shared, he never owned anything when something went wrong. You look at the Scarlett Johansson deal. That was immediately out the gate of what's going on. You look at the Ron DeSantis challenges in Florida. Like that was something that so out the gate, he was picking fights with stuff that I don't want to say shouldn't have been fought with or should be fought with because everyone has their own views, but they're things that Disney really didn't need to stick their toes in that deep. Then
I agree
when it comes to Disney Plus, we get Fox, and this is kind of going on Iger's thing. We get Fox with the idea to put all this content on Disney Plus. Disney Plus is going to be a money gobbling monster for the entire time. It's not going to make a profit. Eventually, everybody that wants Disney Plus will have it. Those that don't want it, don't want it. Not only that, there is no algorithm out there stopping you that I've run into because my Disney Plus, I'm sharing with a lot of people, is being used. So eventually, all the people that want it have it.
Right.
And then, so every time you sync a new show, and I think another thing that's cursing the Disney Plus is dropping all the shows, dropping them week by week. I think is ultimately hurting it because sometimes you get died out. You're like, oh, yeah, I'll cancel it. I don't need to watch it. The shows coming out week to week, I think, does not help it. I think the movies that are going straight to Disney Plus, we see them. They're very lax. Like they know, oh, that's Disney Plus. It's almost like us buying batteries in a dollar store. We expect them to be bad, but we're okay buying that because we know it's just $1. And I feel like Disney Plus is always going to be a money gobbling monster because you're trying to put A-list talent on Disney Plus, but you're giving us B-list scripts for us to consume and want. We have seen movie theaters. Wakanda Forever is a perfect example. Streaming and staying home isn't the thing no more. It was a thing. It's not anymore. Many of these shows they're putting on Disney Plus, you look at them, we've all shared, they can be a 2.5-hour movie. They can cut some of the BS out, give us a 2.5-hour movie, make all that money at the box office, then put it on Disney Plus a few weeks later, a few months later. Netflix has been doing this for years. There's a reason Netflix, I mean, granted, they've taken some hits this past year, but there's a reason why Netflix has been able to grow year after year. They're like, hey, those movies were in theaters. Now they're coming to our platform. If you want them at your fingertips, here you go. Disney Plus, I don't think will ever be a profitable program. You can do all this ad content. All people are going to do is like, I don't want it.
And in your opinion, it's Bob Chapek's fault for Disney Plus?
I don't think it's Bob Chapek's fault. But if you see,
that's what we're talking about, right? Okay.
But I think his fault, and I'll bring this full circle. I think his fault as a CEO, not seeing these problems and taking the stand to fix them.
That's fair.
And that's where I think he missed the mark. When things weren't working, Bob Iger, even though they were his doing or not his doing, he went in and tried to fix them. He was one to grab a wrench and try to help out. Bob Iger's more, I'm going to send a memo out and let's try to fix this. Yeah. Never once did he see those problems and try to take them on his own. And that's my biggest challenge with him is he didn't see them.
I think Iger agrees with you because didn't they fire Kareem Daniel today, who was in charge of media for Disney?
They didn't fire him. According to articles, he stepped away.
Okay.
But in that article that came out, he asked because he said I forgot the term for it. He says that structure is staying there, but he asked them a plan to, okay, how can we leave you here, but how can we put the creative decision back into the creative developments? Right. And apparently it was after that meeting or memo that the Kareem person stepped away and said, all right, I'm out. And I mean, we'll see. Only time's going to tell if this was the right move or the wrong move. But with that,
it was definitely the right move. I will say that. It will come out that it was the right move.
Because there's been a lot of voluntarily stepping down. In our thread, I was kind of mentioning the little shakeup that's been going down very quietly at Lucasfilm, that their number 2 person right under Kathleen Kennedy voluntarily stepped down and got demoted. She was head of future movie projects, and we know we haven't got anything in the horizon for Lucasfilm.
Right.
Star Wars wise, we got Indiana Jones coming out in the summer, but so she was kind of forced out, and Kathleen Kennedy's contract's coming up again in 2 years, but it's really quiet right now in Lucasfilm. But it seems like there's a lot of voluntarily stepping down in the company right now.
Yeah,
and I don't blame Chapek at all for everything that went in COVID, because living here in California, that's the governor. That's a whole different podcast.
Right.
I don't blame him for what happened during the pandemic, but at the same time, I do get upset because the pandemic in Disney terms, for instance, Walt Disney World opened 4 months later. Shanghai and all that did close down, yes. But if I'm not mistaken, according to the Imagineer story, we're just the storytellers behind that. Everything else operational-wise for Shanghai, Disney Sea is all on Shanghai, Tokyo, all them. I know we are in charge of Paris, Florida, and California, but if I'm not mistaken, those parks in Shanghai, Tokyo,
I don't think all of them are. I think Tokyo is.
I think it's just Tokyo.
I think it's just Tokyo that is owned separate. Is owned by the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for Chapek, I feel like a lot of these pandemic moves, none of them have been consistent. These random 30% off for Magic Key holders, but then you don't want Magic Key holders. I mean, we can go on and on the cons of it.
I mean, yeah, it's you mentioned that, and here's the problem I have, and we might be stepping over what you're going to talk about later, but like you just said, the Chapek 30% discount, right? So I'm just taking your words.
Yeah.
If in 6 months there's a 35 or 25 or 30% discount, Bob Iger is the greatest person in the world for doing this. That's what's going to come out there, because and like you said, I did the same thing you did all day long today. I watched Provost Park Pass. I watched Fresh Bake. I watched the Cali Bay. I watched people in Florida, just different responses. And I might be taking us off topic, but since Joey's not here, we can for a second. But my biggest problem with this is that no matter what was done in these last 2 years, it was Chapek's fault. And how dare he do that? How dare he take away our annual passes? That's all I've heard is bring back annual passes. You have damn annual passes. They're just called something different now. It's
the little things that people are so upset about. And
that's what I'm talking about.
It's not going to change. And
that's not going to change. And we need to understand and realize that reservations aren't going anywhere, because if Bob Iger can't realize that that's a great idea to manage crowds and see what's happening in your parks, shame on him,
I mean, I don't think reservations are a good idea. Like I said, there are teams and third-party people that can estimate crowds. They don't need the reservations.
But they're not going anywhere.
But I don't think they're going anywhere. But I don't think they're this
nowhere.
Genius idea that people are trying to make it out to be. It's not. We already had all that information.
We were
I could have predicted crowds. I knew how to predict crowds.
But no matter what the decision is made now, if it's Iger spinning what Chapek's already done a different way, it's going to be the greatest thing in the world. Just trust me. That's what's going to happen for the next 2 years, because everyone thinks Bob Iger is this great, great person. And I'm not saying he's not. I don't know. I'm probably going on a tangent. I shouldn't be. And it's just frustrating, because I feel really bad for this guy. And I'm going to continue to go back to that. This guy came in a terrible time. Iger said, I'm out when it's time to go. And, COVID's over? Sure, I'll come back now. That's how I can come back and be the hero again for the next 2 years and find my predecessor, Josh D'Amaro, probably. Let's be real. Or I think they're talking about it. Yeah,
I think a lot of it comes with the shareholders.
Yeah.
Kind of I don't want to say begging Iger to come back, but in a way
Well, supposedly this started Friday.
From what I was reading. If it happened so quick, I don't know who else they would have got besides someone that would have
And how did Chapek not find out until he was supposed to be introducing Elton John at Dodger Stadium last night, and found out at 6:15? By the way, you're not in charge anymore.
I mean, that says something though. If nobody lets it slip to you that hey, they're ousting you.
That's what Breanna. His people behind him, his team, did not have faith in him, and that.
Yeah. I just think of Fridays, like, how the hell do you get fired on your day off?
Right. I was like, this happened at like 7 p.m. on a Sunday or 6:15 on a Sunday. I'm like,
I left at halftime.
God.
I was at my parents' house eating dinner, and I left at halftime, and all.
And I'm just thinking, they pumped up this Elton John concert, which was great, by the way. I watched it. I watched parts of it today. They pumped this up for months. Last farewell tour. 15 minutes before that starts, by the way, we just fired our CEO and hired Bob Iger back. You took all the wind out of everyone wanting to watch that thing live last night because everyone's tweeting and twatting and whatever you want to do and talking to each other. I watched it today, because I was doing the same thing everyone else was doing last night.
You brought up a good point, though. It's about everybody. Like if Bob Iger, I don't mean to backtrack a little bit, but if Bob Iger in 6 months does some random 30% sale,
greatest thing ever. Yeah. Oh my God! Thank you, Bob Iger.
If he does it for both coasts, that would be better because they did do it for like only one. They did like a random shop Disney 30% off for like Walt Disney World annual pass holders, but not Disneyland Magic Key holders.
Or Magic Keys are on sale for more than a day. Would be
yeah.
Brilliant.
So there could be improvements to that I might actually applaud a little bit.
Yeah, I think the people that when people say that about Chapek, about they're not doing the homework. They're just listening to the social media memes. They're listening to, other shows out there that are just kind of that don't like him. So they're gonna push their agenda on you. But I feel like the thing with Bob Chapek that even if he did that, it's things that Bob Iger does, and we'll transcend. This is where we're gonna go next is your pros and cons of Bob Iger. But I think if he does it, the thing that's different is it seems that there's a method to it. We'd get a random, and we don't even know if it's Bob Chapek pushing these sales, but there'll be like a random 2.5 month sale on all things of Christmas in the middle of September, and you're like, that just it doesn't add up at all. You're like, why are we pushing this sale?
What do you mean we don't know? Everything is his fault.
No, not everything's his fault. But when you hear this, you're like, wait, what? It's almost like, for instance, we saw the meme earlier, the electrical parade coming back for the 25th farewell tour.
We need to see a Sunken City design Bob Iger farewell.
Oh, please do that! Please do that.
That was probably the best meme I've seen so far.
The farewell tour part 2.
Yes, that one, the farewell tour and the electrical parade. I was like,
oh, you need to make a shirt, dude. You need to do a shirt, man.
Whoever did that design is paying attention to history. And with that, let's go into the pros and cons of Bob Iger. I'm gonna go a little opposite. Who wants to start us off on this one?
I'll go. I don't care. Oh, go ahead.
All right,
go ahead. Pros. Pros. Everyone likes him. That's the biggest pro. That's the biggest pro of anyone. I was talking to someone today, and I equate Bob Iger to Barack Obama. Bob Iger is a great speaker and can say anything and make you believe anything. I'm a car salesman, and I appreciate I appreciate the way Bob Iger speaks because
shady car guy,
shadiest. You can take anything and flip it and make it look good, and that's what's going to happen the next 2 years. He's also very smart too. Everyone loves him. He brought back Cars Land into or he spearheaded that, whatever. Again, the biggest pro for Bob Iger is the fact that everyone loves him. And brilliant again on Disney's part. Disney 100 is starting in 2 months. Why not have the most beloved CEO in the past 40 years be at the steering the wheel? You don't want a guy who everyone no one likes in charge. He's going to be everywhere this next year. Just, yeah. And mark my words, there'll be a D23 next year. I think there will be. I heard that conversation I was talked about today. Everyone likes him. Cons. I feel like he left I feel my biggest con for him is he left the company to Chapek in kind of disarray with all the debt. And in the video that me and Lewis were talking about, they had first bought Fox for $55 million or something like that. And then Comcast comes in, raises the bid. So they had to raise their bid to $71 billion, you know that's not paid off. I'm just, they got loans for that. And now they're paying that off now. And you left Bob Chapek in charge of, okay, figure this out, bro. That's my biggest con for him. But I mean, the way he handles stuff, I don't read books. I'm not going to lie. I was given his book and I've read like the first 3 chapters of it. And it's amazing. The way he talks about how he handles stuff, his work ethic, how he gets up like at 4:00 in the morning and works his ass off. And then the book goes into the fact, about when the little boy was eaten by the alligator he was in Shanghai, opening Shanghai, and got a call saying that this happened. So he's dealing with this kid's family in Florida, and he's in Shanghai. Brilliant. I mean, he handles stuff better, and that's my biggest pro is and everyone loves him. And again, Disney, I'm applauding you because it was the smartest thing you could have done right now to get your market back, and you're already seeing dividends from it just by the stocks, and they're going to continue to rise. Anything he does seems like what he does, it touches, it turns to gold. That's that's the perception he gives off, and I can keep going, but hope that made sense. But
it does, and I guess I can go next because honestly, mine are the same as Shawn's, so I could just add. So like I said, my con with Bob Chapek was that he does not have the support of his employees. I do think that Bob Iger is a good leader. He will be able to inspire and bring his get the rally behind his employees.
Well, look at the email he wrote yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
one thing too. And like,
I wanted to work for him after
right. And I was gonna say that was the thing too. I was like, this happened so fast that like Bob and like I said, like he had to be on the outs. Like, I mean, usually the outgoing CEO would also write something, like give this notification, and it wasn't him. It was Bob Iger coming in, being like, "Hey guys, I'm back.
I'm here.
Like
the other guy's gone. Hello.
Yeah. Like, hi guys, what's up? Like, so that's just insane to me. That was like just something that kind of blew my mind. Like, so this was like, I mean, not only it being on a Sunday in the evening, like it wasn't Bob Chapek writing his like farewell speech to like his employees. It was Bob Iger coming in going, "Hey, like, what's up?"
Right. And because you have to think about this. I'm going to throw this in there real quick. So he sent that email out to the employees before Chapek was fired. So did they just like block his name from when he sent out the email? Because obviously it was a mass email. they just blocked out Chapek so he didn't see it. I mean,
to all employees except.
Go beyond that. Iger had access again to like Disney confidentials. Like, let's go. His credentials are just back in.
Like here, he's all set up. He has.
I need my passwords. Mickey Mouse 925.
He's like, "Can someone reset my password? I need my old email back." I know how that works. It never works out well. Took me 3 weeks to get access back at my hospital.
Took 3 hours.
Waltold office, just chilling.
Yeah, did he just walk in and boot Chapek like with his box? Like, get out, bro! I'm here.
Did security have to escort Bob Chapek out with his?
You guys ever watch Entourage where Ari Gold gets his job back? He goes into the office with his paintball gun.
Hey, Bob Iger walks into the office with like a "I'm celebrating" button on and shit. Just
got a new job. Celebrating my new job.
Hey, Bob Chapek on his way out. I think I'm going to Disneyland next. Oh gosh!
Did you guys see the meme David put in there? It was a picture of these guys shaking their nose like Bob Chapek trying to get into Disneyland.
I was gonna say, is Bob Chapek able to buy a magic key now?
No,
Does he get an exception since they've sold out again?
So, like,
how does that call go? Yeah. By the way, hey, good evening. Don't do the Elton John thing. You're going to look really bad if you do that. I'm just oh, my God.
All right, Joey, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Well, real quick, like, I don't dislike Chapek just to dislike him like a lot of people do on YouTube, and that's like the popular thing. I want Disney to be profitable. I want Disney to succeed, everything they do. And so I'm rooting for, but anyways, the pros, well, some of the cons is, I mean, he's Iger's still a business guy. You got to have a little bit of asshole in you to be a business guy, but he knows how to balance what he needs to do business wise to what he needs to do image wise. And I don't know if you guys have seen the recent Mickey Mouse documentary.
I have.
I have not.
Iger's in it. Chapek isn't. So
dude, I was mind blown by that.
Yeah, crazy. But the pros. I mean, Lewis, you brought it up. The IPs that he's purchased. I don't say purchased, but that they've taken over. But the Imagineering story highlights it perfectly. Once he was appointed, all right, what do we need to fix? Disney parks were down. The total revamp of DCA was huge. That was him. At the time, Eisner was high on his straight to direct DVD and direct to video movies, low quality. We need to up the quality of the animated classics. This is what makes Disney. So they did that right away. Granted, it didn't work well, but he appointed Lasseter as head of Disney Animation, which was very good at the time before he was his own little issue. But
garbage.
Yeah. But so Disney Animation got bumped up to the reputation that it had, especially with the Renaissance years and everything. Like I said, the parks, Shanghai opened, Paris got redone. Like I said, DCA was a huge thing because I enjoyed it because it was a Disney park, but until they did that huge Paradise Pier expansion and Cars Land and all that, now it's a full day park in my opinion. So
I agree for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so being that he had the vision right away to do this stuff, and so again, keeping with the early years of Eisner, Disney, all business guys, but still have a vision for the future is the big pro, and just his appearance towards the Disney family as CMs, but from movies to the parks to anywhere, and the fans, they see him making an appearance. So, and that's what people want. Even though you're at this high level, they still want you to be like, that just Uncle Bob. Walt was known as Uncle Walt to so many people. He's not Walt Disney by any means, but just knowing the reputation of Disney, what it takes to be in that position, is a huge pro.
Yeah.
So do we see any changes to the media aspect now of Disney? Because I feel like I kind of talked about how I thought that was a pro, was the new innovations coming in. Lewis talked about how it was a con. I feel like that's what we saw that was driving the stock down, that probably initiated all of this.
Well, yeah, I think that Disney Plus lost $1.4 billion in the fourth quarter.
And I was like, I get the loss. I still think that he did grow this very well. It's just not where it needs to be, obviously. Do we see a change coming?
I see a change, not a bad and not a good one. I see just a more consistent output in content, just a consistent rollout. Because when Disney Plus first started, each month we had something new coming. Now we have some weeks where there's 20 new things, and then we'll go 3 weeks where there's nothing. So I don't see it getting better or worse. I see things just becoming more consistent. And when it first started, at one point we had one big show and one show start the very next week. Now we're getting it's almost done, but we're gonna throw this in. We got Andor that's done it's doing a split season, but it's also a split timeline. I think it's going. I forgot how they're playing that card.
So this first season is 1 year. This all takes place 5 years before Rogue One. So season 1 is just one continuous year. Then season 2, which will most likely come out in 2 years because they haven't really they've started filming. Anyways, it's going to be broken up 4 years before Rogue One. So they're probably going to do 3. It's going to be another 12 episode season. So a lot of Star Wars fans are saying, well, they're going to do 3 episode arcs, and each one of those arcs is going to be, year 2. Then the next one will be year 3. Then the next one will be, leading up to Rogue One. And that's just what's going around the Star Wars fandom right now on how it's going to go.
Yeah, I honestly don't think we're going to see any big changes that the average fan is going to see unless you're reading into it. I think we're just going to see things become more consistent. For instance, I don't think reservations are going nowhere. I'm almost on the board they're staying. Do I see it being a little bit changed? Do I see the calendar becoming more available? Probably. Do I see they're not going to change how many days we can hold because obviously it's a contract thing, but you may see on the calendar more availability to pick days. So it seems like we're doing that. They're going to be cautious on how they change the reservations because there will be somebody out there that says, oh, you took away my days of how many I can have. Now I can have too many. You're going to find somebody that's going to be nitpicky. It's all that's in contract, but I can see them where the calendars are always open. So, yes, you only have 6, 4, or 2 days, but all of a sudden you can get a ticket whenever you want. I see things in the park becoming more consistent. I see things like ride maintenance, stuff like that. I don't know if that was Bob Chapek's doing, if he was saving money somewhere, but whoever is responsible for that is going to be either stepping down or stepping up and getting it right, because I think Bob Chapek was so busy on other projects that he wasn't able to sit there, like we mentioned the Imagineering story. There's that one scene where they talk about Cars Land, and Bob Iger's thinking about the sun and the trees of Cars Land, and it's going to be real hot. Like, I don't think those were things that Bob Chapek was paying attention to. He was paying attention to things on Disney, but sometimes too much focus was on one thing. When with a monstrosity like Disney, which is why I don't think anybody's ever going to buy it, because they have a finger in just about everything. No one person can manage this beast because it's media, it's theme parks, it's news companies, it's everything. So I think with that, I just think things are going to become more consistent and it's going to seem normal again. And yes, we're going to give Bob Iger a bunch of credit. I don't disagree with Shawn. I think that's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
The hard part is, though, is no matter who steps in these shoes, they're not going to be ready. When Frank Wells and Michael Eisner took over the company, everybody thought, oh, here we go. It's outsiders coming in. Guess what? They blew it up. Mm-hmm. And what happened? Unfortunately, Frank Wells passed away. Michael Eisner wasn't thinking straight, and that happened. Bob Iger was doing the same thing. Now, granted, he was different because he was the chair and the CEO and was doing good. Rumor has it that the chair and Bob Chapek weren't seeing eye to eye. So if that's not working, well, then it's going to domino effect all the way down. So for me, I think things are just going to become more consistent.
I'm hoping. I'm definitely. I agree.
I would
but I'm
take
definitely
that.
hoping.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like I said, my big thing, no matter who's in charge, I just want Disney to succeed.
Yeah.
And with that, that's the last conversation topic we have, and we only have like 2 or 3 minutes left.
I have a few more, but we have time. I know Joey has to record a little bit. Do you have a few more minutes if you guys want to spitball a few more things? But yeah.
So going around, what are 3 things you want to see happen? If Bob Iger is obviously stepping in these next 2 years, what are 3 things you hope to see happen that are logical in the Disney company?
I'll go last because I really don't know. So
okay.
I got a few, and I'll go quick. Better marketing for entertainment, such as movies, and this kind of Marvel has really good marketing, and I know they let their other houses do things on their own, but better marketing for Lucasfilm, better marketing for Disney films. And of course, the number one thing is taking care of the cast members, coast to coast. I know it's a little bit easier for the cast members on the wages they make in Florida than the cast members in California. That has to do with cost of living, but just a little. I think we mentioned it. If you're going to raise prices, cool, but that'll up the cast members' wages or something they can do. Mm-hmm. So just taking better care of the cast members is one thing I'd like to see, and I can't think of the third one other than I wish they had Disney stores back, but that's another thing. But that's all I got.
Go ahead, Breanna.
I would have to agree with the cast members. He'd mentioned Florida, but Florida, I think it's just Florida. The union there is suing for higher wages right now for park cast members. So I mean, not suing, petitioning that's for higher wages, and I mean, I don't know. I've never lived in California until this year, so I don't know what inflation looked like here or is looking like. But the inflation that I have seen in Florida is absolutely insane. Like, they can't be getting paid what they like. I mean, it's got to be insane. Right. So yes, they've got to do something for inflation for their employees. I would like to see more concrete ideas. That's kind of coming from the parks panel at D23, where we got nothing but off distance ideas. And
Disney Parks, what if?
Yeah, literally like these, like, I would just like to see real plans on something, like people really coming up with real plans and seeing them move forward with this. Like, and like I brought up with media, I want to see something new with media. I don't know how or what. I love the theater. I hope that they start bringing Pixar more consistently back to the theaters, their big movies back to theaters. I still think that there is so much that can be done with streaming, and it is the way of the future on the way that we consume media.
Right.
And I think they have a lot of room to grow with that, and I'm excited to see what they do. I'm not smart enough to figure out what it will be, but I'm ready to see that grow, and I want to see concrete plans for that. So mostly concrete plans and fair wages for the employees.
I think it's okay if they copy Netflix with the movies. Bring something up in theaters for
I
a week or
completely
two.
agree. Completely agree.
Then release it in the theater, because I'm going to see Glass Onion in the theater. I'm probably going to see it when it comes out to Netflix.
I was so excited when I found out that it was being able to go to theaters as well. Like, I'm huge on going to the movies. I'd much rather see movies in a theater. I know that's not always logical for some people. I grew up in a very rural area where you travel very far for a theater, so and I was like, and I live in a rural area anyway that, like, the internet still doesn't work great, so streaming's still hard. But luckily the Department of Agriculture has put in quite a bit of money that they're trying to bring high-speed internet to rural areas now, so hopefully that, like, again, so I know that's for more people for work and school and stuff, but that also means more streaming for people. Right. Like, so I was like, there's so much potential for Disney Plus, and like I said, I think it will be the thing that I do praise Chapek on, that he grew this to something that was already more than it was expected. Is it perfect? No. Is there places for it to go? Yes. But I think they have said it too, that this is kind of their way of the future, and I do think that it can be. Like,
for sure.
My three are easy. I mean, definitely give the creative decisions to the ones that are storytelling. We've seen when it works, and we've seen when it doesn't work. Second, I hope that Disney Plus gets more consistent. I hope that we understand what's coming, what's not coming, and just let that be an entertainment piece that we have in the toolbox. There's no reason why Disney Plus needs to be on the forefront. But lastly, I would like them to be consistent with their projects. All these projects that we have going, start getting them done. I feel like there's too many projects in the film industry, the TV industry, the park industries, just the growing industries, the whole Imagineers going to Florida. Let's stop trying to make more projects and let's complete ones that we have. I mean, there's no reason that a damn treehouse needs to take 2 years to finish. There's no reason. Tron, I feel it has some reasons, but the treehouse, literally, the concept art, it's the same thing. Why is this taking 2 damn years? So start finishing projects. And because guess what? I think if you start finishing projects, stocks will then regrow. But we're opening so many loose ends. Like, there's so many unfinished, unstarted, theorized projects that it's mind-blowing. So for me, that's my biggest one. Start finishing some projects on whatever outlet that is.
All of them, please.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay. I've had time to think about this while you guys talked. So what I would like to see, I would like to see your response from Bob Chapek. Something thanking. I don't know. I don't know how that would look. I doubt
thanking his haters. What?
I doubt we're ever going to see that. Because it's still
I can see some humility. I mean,
yeah. The wages thing. I saw someone talk about that earlier today about the cast members. The cast members were fighting with Iger just before for wages, so it's not like Iger paid them more and then Chapek cut that.
Yeah.
So it's not.
This has been a struggle for
it's not like
years
one
on
paid
years
the
on
other.
years. Yeah.
It's just the way that it was twisted to it's the way it was put to the. I guess.
Well, Chapek's lived through tons of inflation. He's reigned as CEO through tons of inflation.
Sure.
And prices aren't affecting that. So there's just a mass need for a pay increase now. And
I agree with Lewis. I don't agree with Lewis on the Disney Plus thing. Disney Plus should be at the forefront of their whole company because it's going to drive them into the future. And that we can have a whole nother discussion about that on this show down the road, because like Breanna said, it's where we're going. When Breanna said that, that they innovated like Peacock and Paramount and HBO Max. I mean, Warner Brothers, whatever they all do.
Discovery Plus.
When you say that, it's like, dang, she's actually right, because it was just Hulu and Netflix before, and then Disney Plus says, well, we're going to try this, so boom, here's everything else now. But what I hope to see, I don't think the magic ever left the parks. I'm one that doesn't believe that. I went there in May. I've been there a couple times this last year. I thought it was just as much fun as it ever has been before.
We bring the magic to the park.
Absolutely. You make it. You make it what you make it what you make it. And
if you're in a bad mood, you're going to have a crappy time. If you're in a great mood, you're going to have the time of your life.
I don't know. I just want to see it. Unless I just want to, I put this out there today. I said the WAP, that's what we call our show, has never been in a non-Chapek world. When we started this show in August of 2020, Bob Chapek was already in charge. It's going to be weird now. What are we going to talk about now? We're not going to be able to bash this guy anymore. For now we get to praise Bob Iger for at least 2 years.
I'll can bash him as long as you want.
I just want, and I think like Joey said, I think that the biggest thing is I want Disney to succeed, because that's what we're all here for. That we were all brought together from all over the country for that reason, because we all love Disney. We want them to succeed. We don't want them to look like they're failing. We don't want them to have to fire their boss because things aren't going well and hire someone else back. I mean, we want to have fun. We want to celebrate Disney because that's what we're actually here to do, and talk about that every week. And
we're not the Disney podcast that bashes everything they do, because
I want to celebrate the company, and I know Iger before, when he was in charge, that's what was done. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to celebrating the company again and celebrating the accomplishments, and not saying this is going off topic again, because it's what I do, Lewis. But that's
what this show is created for, right here.
It's that thing that it's going to be fun to talk about fun things. It's not raising prices again, and next year when they raise prices, it's not going to happen. It's not going to. It's every year. If this happens, I don't know. I can go on and on and on, but I don't want to.
Well, the prices are being raised before COVID prices are going up, but we're getting Galaxy's Edge, we're getting Avengers Campus. Now we're getting, prices going up, but you got to pay for something that was free, a year.
And that's a good point. And I heard someone say that today, and then I listened to like 5 podcasts today, and they said that's the thing. You would get something for what you were doing. Now it's just because.
Yeah.
I remember years ago. Price raise time. You really get nothing out of it, but here you go.
Yeah, years ago, if you had an AP, they had Walt's Wednesdays. Sometimes they had special screenings. I saw an AP screening of Aladdin in the Big Thunder Ranch. They did Glow with the Show Ears. We got a. So they were always doing
limited time magic.
Yeah, limited time magic, long lost friends night.
They need to bring that back. Please bring that back.
So it's like you had the pay increase, but you were getting special perks, especially as an AP, which was really cool.
Also, side note on your guys' streaming concept. Yes, Netflix is doing it, Hulu's doing it, HBO is doing it, but that is an evolution to their project. HBO went from cable to streaming. That's their only line of income.
Yeah.
Disney doesn't need that. They can have it, cool, but there's a reason they made millions of dollars when they released movies from the vault. Having the streaming platform, like it's there, but their media content, their movie content, their theme park content, all that is that next step above. Netflix, HBO, Hulu. I mean, Hulu's 85% Disney anyway, but they have Hulu. Let's be honest with that. Like those are all platforms.
Hulu too, so
yeah, like those are all platforms that were built to be direct to consumer. I feel like Disney, realistically, they jumped in that because that was a money pot to play in.
Yeah, why not though?
Why not is one thing, but to put all your eggs in that basket, like you made it 100 years without that.
Nah, yeah, but people aren't buying physical media anymore. They had to make that switch.
You had to go digital. You had to. Yeah,
I want the Mandalorian set.
Hold on.
You spent $70 billion on a studio. You're going to damn well make money. You're going to put all their stuff out to make money.
The new way of media, and they are a media company. They started out in media.
It's the new way of media, but if people are waiting 6 hours in line for a popcorn bucket 3 times the price of a DVD, come on. I mean, people are paying 3 months worth of Disney Plus for a popcorn bucket. Like, that's where if you're going to put money somewhere, no one's buying DVDs.
Actually, it's only 2 times now because they raised the price of Disney Plus.
More popcorn buckets.
But and yes,
Breanna.
$70 billion for Fox blows my effing mind.
Yeah.
What franchise does Fox own that's going to repay
Avatar?
That?
Yep. Avatar.
They got Pandora, then the new movie.
But I mean, they only paid.
But it was Bob Iger. Bob Iger does no wrong.
That was stupid. I will say that. You paid $4 billion for Star or Lucasfilms that at least has Indy and Star Wars.
Yeah.
And you pay $70 billion for
and
Fox.
Look what you did with Marvel. I mean, come on.
Well, what Marvel properties did Fox have though? Deadpool, X-Men.
Yeah.
Okay,
maybe it's worth it.
Searchlight is my absolute favorite media company. They could put out, like, honestly, half their movies do it wrong. Searchlight is my favorite.
Talked about before too. Why not use Disney Plus as I think Breanna mentioned it, but to do Shop Disney or even the Amazon.
Hell yeah, I think that.
I see that coming real soon.
Well, that was Chapek's big idea. It's
a good idea
to make it like Amazon, and why not? If you're watching freaking a video. And you're watching the Imagineering story, and off to the side, or when you turn off that show, some freaking Mickey Mouse ears pop up, and you can buy those.
You know it's Leslie Iwerks Imagineering.
You can buy Leslie Iwerks book that Nicole raved about last week.
That's being innovated. That would.
Okay, so you need that media platform to do that, Lewis. What should be Disney Plus?
Yeah, but that's already established. I mean, you don't got to keep throwing it down our throats. Eventually, you're going to run out of TVs to stream Disney Plus. I mean, that has a light at the end of the tunnel. The Imagineering at the parks or in your big screen movies, that doesn't. Like Walt said, Disney Plus is now dead. You can't do much more to that that's already hasn't been done. Your parks, your movie-going experience, your cruises, your $100 billion trip around the world, that's the stuff that you consistently change. Disney Plus, there's a finish line at the end. I mean, realistically, you're going to hit that plateau where what else?
I think there's a subscriber limit at the end, but I don't necessarily know that there's a finish line to what can be done.
Unless we go the route of WALL-E, where they're going to start delivering food to us while we're watching food and we get floating wheelchairs, there's a finish line at the end of that tunnel.
Everything in a slush form.
Yeah.
Amazon delivered me a package in 8 hours.
Yeah, we got to have this discussion on Disney Plus, Lewis. We're going to have go into a whole show.
I'm game.
Plus, man. I had no idea. I had no idea. It doesn't sound like it. I'm not going to lie. It doesn't sound like you love it at all.
I like Disney Plus. I do. But if I'm playing chess, Disney Plus is not one of my pieces in the back aisle. Nope, it's a pawn.
So you'd pick Netflix or Hulu over Disney Plus?
No, I wouldn't pick either one of them. I'm not a big streaming person. Okay, I'll go to the movies and watch a movie. But I like Disney Plus because I'll throw an old school movie on while I'm drawing and stuff like that. I think it's a cool tool. Just like having Genie Plus is a cool tool. But I'm not putting all my eggs in that. I'm putting all my eggs in the Imagineers that are creating new things on a daily. That's right.
Okay.
The storytelling, not the stories that have already been told.
Right. We should probably wrap up because Joey has to record his show. So.
Oh, I can leave. I mean,
no. It's yeah. I mean, is there more to say?
I mean, there's more to say, but we'll get off the
Iger's
rails
back.
off topic.
Oh, Iger's back. It's going to be all good. Don't worry.
You know, we should have a show in 2 years.
Will everyone turn on Iger if he doesn't get rid of Genie Plus under the reservation system?
No, because he'll spin it to make it look like it was a good idea. Okay. I guarantee you. He'll send out some cool, greatly worded message to everyone saying, guys, this is just the best thing. They're like, oh my God, Bob Iger's right. But Chapek did it. And you hope.
I hope they don't get rid of Genie Plus. I use the shit out of Genie Plus.
I
really do.
Oh, when it was announced, it was just at Walt Disney World. And like I said, if they separated that from Max Pass, pretty much the same thing, but I don't know. Just
the way I look at this now is anything that's making them money, they're not going to stop doing now. So, I mean, I don't know how much money Genie Plus made them this year, but I know it was a lot. And they're not going to be, just to make the guests happy, we're just going to get rid of that now. No way. And, that's like lowering the price of a churro to make people happy. No, it's not going to happen. He's not going to come in and slash price. It's not the Bob Iger sale. We're going to come in and just slash prices left and right. You know what I mean? No.
I really hope they advertise it as like a Black Friday sale. Bob Iger. Black Friday deals.
They just need to refine Genie Plus because
chop it. He's just chopping. Yeah, he's slashing prices.
He's walking through Disney like Donald Trump. You're fired. Yeah. You're fired. Yeah. Just
20-minute wait. Now you're 10-minute wait.
Don't even listen. Hey, like opening day, just hop the fence and get in the car. Just take it over. You know what? Like Skylar said, let's just demo it all down and we'll restart over.
So we've established that everything's going to be okay now in the world of Disney because Bob Iger's back, right?
Oh, I disagree with that comment, but the social media is going to twist it that way. Absolutely.
What do you mean twist? That's exactly what they're saying. I watched 3 freaking live streams. Oh my God, the magic's back. The magic's back. Bring back the magic. He's the magic man. I'm like, what?
I just am ready for like 2 months down the road. I need to know. Like, I still think they could potentially turn on him if none of this changes. Like,
in February when the prices go up again and there's still reservations, absolutely. They're going to kill him too.
No,
they're going to try to bring back Eisner.
Watch, Strange World's going to be a big hit. Avatar's going to be a big hit.
Yeah. Disney 100 is going to be amazing. Runaway Railway is here. Thank you, Bob Iger, for bringing that to us. Yeah, it's all. I'm glad Nicole's not here because she was riding my ass today about this.
Dude, I think we need a part 2 to this. Well, I mean, we're going to get like a partial part 2 on Wednesday.
But we can't be too much because we got a lot of freaking nominees.
Got a lot of nominees. I need to go through all those.
There's a lot.
Figure out my votes.
Speaking of that, it'll be fun.
Fun talk.
They have they have Wanda as a villain, and they don't have freaking Namor as a villain. I don't understand. And
Did they put Black Panther in these?
Yeah, there's some Black Panther cast and stuff.
I haven't
looked
looked through any of it yet.
Why isn't Namor in there as a villain?
I got confused because he was up for Best Supporting Actor and Best Actor.
Right.
Like this is a character.
Well, according to Sam, he's a patriot. So Breanna, when you pulled that freaking clip, that was the best clip I've ever heard. I'm like, this is the greatest.
I wrote down the time mark because I knew the second that you guys were going off. I was laughing making it.
I was so mad, man. I'm like,
that was awesome.
I was literally hiding in one of my kids' rooms, like
Namor
laughing,
is a patriot.
making this clip.
I can't wait to see her again. I'm gonna say it to her again. Namor is a patriot. How's that possible? Okay, we're way off topic now. And
that was classic.
I got stuff to do. So, Lewis, take us out, my friend. Brianna, Joey, thank you guys so much.
Thanks for.
Thanks for inviting us.
The thread was interesting for 24 hours for sure.
It's going to continue too. I mean, we're going to see so many things. Oh my God, this guy got fired. Josh D'Amaro stepped down.
Thank you, Internet. Internet killed it with everything.
Oh my God, speaking of Disney Vault, they had something like that where they shoved Chapek in the Disney Vault, and I was dying.
Oh, jeez.
It's hilarious.
All right. Well, it was fun. It was epic. But yeah. Hope everyone enjoyed the view from Main Street.
That's right. Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.
Go Niners.